Welcome to Moto State Podcast, where we talk about motorcycles, life, and everything in between. Are you guys getting everything amped up for the season then?
Yeah, absolutely. Every year we're not starting over from scratch, but sometimes it feels like you're starting over from scratch, just trying to get everything, all your ducks in a row and everything going.
Sure. Well, Luke, why don't you tell everybody who we have with us today?
Yeah, so welcome everybody. We're excited to have a couple folks from Tab Performance on the racing team side of it. Justin, who's one of the co-owners of the company and heads up from Tab the racing side, and then Kyle, who actually rides the motorcycle around the track and is a far better motorcycle rider than any of us ever thought about being. So we want to thank you guys for being on the show and joining us. We're really excited to have you guys here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, guys, thank you very much.
Yeah, absolutely. So Justin, I'm gonna start with you. Talk a little bit about, so what you go from, we got handlebars, we got obviously exhaust systems and all this, and now y'all are helping with you got a race team. So talk to us about that transition, and then where did you find Kyle? Was he thumbing a ride down the highway and you picked him up, or how did that come about as well?
Yeah, so Tab Performance has kind of always been known for the sound, and we've always had performance options, but really what we were kind of known for was the sound. And so a couple years ago, we wanted to come out with a system that was primarily focused on performance, and sound was kind of a secondary benefit, where we'd kind of always been maybe more sound is at least what we were known for was sound was our primary and performance was the secondary. And so we came out with the Red Line series, and that is really a performance based. Those Red Line series are performance based systems, and sound is really kind of the more of a secondary thing we optimize for. And so it was part of trying to launch that and spread awareness and get more into the performance side of the industry. We thought about doing or getting into the bag racing for quite a while, and Kyle was and the whole team was previously the Ride Fast team, and one of the wives had actually kind of reached out to us looking for sponsors. And Kyle, if I get any of this wrong or remember it wrong, you have to correct me. But
yeah, no, good so far.
Yeah. So and we were interested in just joining on as a sponsor to begin with, and right after we were kind of getting started in that conversation, and they had a wreck and messed up, did quite a bit of damage to the front suspension, and they weren't planning on racing the rest of the year. So we kind of put it on the back burner for a little bit. Then it got a little bit further down the road, and again, we were kind of looking to really promote the Red Line system and the performance stuff. And so we reached back out and said, hey, what would it take to get the bike back up and going? Maybe ready for next year. And so they kind of gave us some numbers of what that would take. And there was one race, New Jersey, left in the year. And they thought, hey, if we get the stuff on order, get it up and going, we think we can race that last race of the year. And so we're like, yeah, that sounds great. Kind of get a feel for it before we jump in for the whole year. And so we went out to New Jersey and met with Kyle and the rest of the team. And, personality wise, we just kind of really hit it off, and really liked what they were doing, and thought we could hopefully add some benefit and definitely some sponsorship and, some of that. And so last year was, what we ended up doing is we decided, if we're going to do it, we're going to go all in. So we ended up,
Okay.
so we ended up purchasing the team from the previous owner, and working with Kyle and the guys, and so last year was our very first like full year. Learned a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff Kyle and those guys already knew, but was very new to us. So yeah, but that's kind of how we got
Yeah,
into it, I guess.
tire warmers will do.
That sounds exciting. So you basically Kyle it was a package deal with Kyle. He was already on the team, right? And
Yeah.
so Kyle, tell us, you know, a little bit about your background and the transition over to Tab, and really like how much you've had to teach Justin and them what to do because they I'm sure.
Yeah, so I'll keep it short, not so much on my background bit, but just on kind of when they came in and what that looked like. So I mean, we were doing pretty good. I think we had a fourth in Daytona or something with a bike that it was okay, but it was definitely built more on a budget, I guess.
Gotcha.
And we're kind of limited coming in, and we're trying our best to find support and sponsors and whatnot. I mean, like you said, one of the wives had reached out. So I mean, it was kind of everyone on deck trying to help make it happen. And like I said, our team was largely based out of Indian R&D engineers, right? So that's kind of what So we knew we had the right people and the right equipment, I guess. It was just we went to Atlanta. We're doing well there. Ended up hitting the frame on the ground, totaled the bike, and we were looking at the budget for the year. And it's like, okay, do we proceed? Do we not proceed? And the team owner was just like, nope, this is costing way more money than I thought. And I think he was kind of 1 foot in, 1 foot out. Like grateful for the opportunity and whatnot, but to race at that level, everyone's got to be, I mean, fully committed in, right, and trying to figure out how to make it happen, right? I think every race team goes through it every year. It's like, okay, what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? And um, people that are dedicated, they'll find a way. So yeah, Justin came in. We got along immediately at New Jersey, which I don't know, I was kind of skeptical on team owners or people that want to come in and be like, we want to go race, because they're a lot of times just talk. They don't actually follow
Sure.
through with it. It's a big
It
problem
sounds good
in
in their mind,
motorsports.
right? It's like a
Yeah,
great
everyone's
idea
all for it, and then they're
until
like, oh,
shit
this is
gets
actually
real.
gonna be yeah, like this is gonna be some hard work,
Sure.
in racing, right? It's high highs and low lows, right? And
Sure.
finding something that's gonna stick with you and ride that out. Because I mean, sometimes stuff happens that is totally out of your control, right? And then what was it? We had a motor issue in turn one in Atlanta. I think like 6 million people saw what happened there. So it's a good replay clip of the high side. But the Tab guys came in, got along great, and really kind of put forth like a serious effort into it. And last year was kind of um, like they gave it a good go and good effort, but they wanted to figure out, okay, what do we need? Like, oh, we need how many sets of tire warmers, how many sets of body work, when do we do rotations on motors? What does all that stuff look like? What size sprockets, what gears? Oh, we need this custom one-off thing. Okay, how many should we get? And it's racing
Sure.
stuff. So they're always looking for an edge and an advantage. So I guess my job is to go out, push as hard as I can, and find out what's trying to kill me about the bike, and then how to fix it. So
Sure.
we have a good team, able to figure out and help identify that stuff, and then I mean, the whole Tab team and Justin just figuring out how to make it happen has been key, right? So yeah, so heading into this year, we uh, had a much better understanding. I think, especially on the Tab side, of really what it takes um, to do well in it, right? So
Sure.
how many weekends you can go test, um, how many sets of tires, what's really going to make the difference throughout the weekend. So yeah, because I don't think Tab had gone road racing ever, and to jump in right away and do it at the highest possible level, and I mean we did pretty well with a lot of new, so
That's
it's cool.
great. Jumping in the deep end right off the bat, right?
So, I'm curious. I need to get some specs here because I need to wrap my brain around the whole idea. So the first thing I want to know, Kyle, how tall are you?
6 feet and
Oh wow,
58 pounds.
Okay, so
but
you're
yeah,
so
it's not.
yeah, because I'm a giant human being. I'm like 6'3", and so like that. Oh, I sat on a race bike one time, and my knees were like up to my neck on the tank, and I was like, I'm like, number one, I'm too old. I don't bend this way anymore. And so just sitting on one, it was just one of those things. So that's the first thing I was. So I mean, you're pretty tall, so that's surprising. I expected you to be shorter. So
the bagger, the bagger's actually an interesting one to where, I mean, you could be quite tall. I think Troy Herfoss is taller than me.
sure.
And the bagger, they're so big and so long and spread out.
Yep.
That's one of the most comfortable bikes I've ever raced. I mean, I've raced BMW 1000s and R6s and like R3s. I mean, like pick your size bike. I've raced them.
Right.
Those get pretty cramped. The Hooligan, actually, that was the most cramped bike I've ever ridden my entire life.
Right.
Like as far as like you're in a talk at Daytona and the bike's trying to kill you, doing all kinds of weird stuff, and your knees are literally touching your chest,
Right.
Oh my
and you
gosh.
can't get your elbows down, so you're just like,
I just got a
brutal.
cramp in my
Yeah.
leg just hearing that. Like,
Right.
Yeah, but
geez.
on the
Man.
bagger though, so most bikes, right? Like you're trying to be as small as you can, be a little bubble,
Yep.
whatever. Elbows down, not sticking outside your knees, stuff like that. On the bagger, you have this, I mean, giant, wall basically ahead of you. So like
Sure.
you can be more relaxed on it because I mean your elbow's not gonna be sticking out into the wind.
Right.
You got this giant boob in front of you.
Right.
Yeah. Sure. That's a good way
Pushing
to
all the
put it.
air, so
Right.
the tuck and stuff like that isn't quite as important.
So okay,
So-
so stock Indian Challenger. What's the weight of a
Mm.
stock Indian Challenger? Does anybody know?
Oh, I think it's like 980.
Okay.
It's up there. Depends what accessories you have, right?
Yep.
But,
Yep. And so what's
yeah.
how's the race bike compare?
Yep. So it's I think 640. It's 620 or 640
Holy
is the minimum
hell.
weight.
That
So
is
there's a significant amount of weight off.
right.
So you're saying no tour pack. That's what I just heard. No
Right,
tour
yeah,
pack.
yeah. No amplifiers in the fairing.
No, absolutely not. No GPS.
Right,
Yeah,
no
for sure.
GPS, right. Wow. I
That's
mean
amazing.
that's pretty incredible. That much
Yeah,
of
and
weight is taken off the bike.
They're insanely tall too. Like I have long legs and I am tippy toes on those things on the start, like one leg down. There's no possible chance of getting 2 feet down on there.
Right.
Whereas on standard sport bike I can, right? We lift those up for ground clearance stuff.
Right.
The bagger more so, just because it's quite a wide engine. You don't want to be scraping on the ground. Whole thing. There's center of gravity stuff as well that goes into that. But I mean, it was always funny seeing like Jeremy McWilliams, who's a shorter gentleman, right?
Right.
He'd pull up to the grid and he'd be usually someone would have to catch him
Mm-hmm.
so he wouldn't fall over. Like awesome guy, worked with him for a long time, raced against him for a long time, but he would be like almost falling over, waiting for the light to go out, and if they waited too long, you could hear him like cursing in his helmet. So I'm trying to get the show on the road. So it's the height is kind of a problem for some of those bikes. You see the riders kind of struggling.
Right.
Like Rocco,
Yeah.
I think his bike popped out of gear, but Bobby Fong just fell over on the grid one year. So that's
I think
they're interesting.
Kyle on
I've been around-
Kyle on Harley's racing team. I think he's like 5'7" or something like that. I don't think he's very tall
Mhm.
either.
Yeah.
I think
BRL.
like 5'7", 5'9",
Yeah.
something like that. Yeah.
Well, then you got a guy like Steve Chamberlain. I've seen his old race bike. I've been around it, and I think it's a little shorter now than it was when he was racing it in the BRL. But that thing is incredibly tall. I'm 5'10" on a good day, and
With your
there's
boots
no
on.
way- with my boots on, probably. Yeah, that's probably accurate. And there's no way. I mean, I'd be maybe tippy toeing. I'd be cussing in my helmet too if I was trying to sit at a red light in that thing. So I can't imagine what it's like out there. That's so cool. that's amazing. Well, Kyle, so you're racing the baggers now, but you mentioned R6s and all that. So obviously, I'm guessing you've been racing a long time. At what point did you move into the baggers and started racing those? How long you been doing that?
Yeah. So I grew up doing moto. I started racing when I was 3. So there was an age box you're meant to fill out. Parents, whatever. So I think you're supposed to be 4 or 5 to do it, but they just didn't put my age in there because my older brother, he's a year and a half older. He raced every weekend, and I guess I was just a menace, running around with my helmet on and my boots because I could ride. I rode with him all the time, and
Sure.
we'd get to the races on the weekend just as a family. and I guess I would storm around saying, I want to race, and why does he get to race and I can't? And I guess I was such a menace that my mom said, we can't go anymore unless Kyle gets to race too. So they were like, okay, whatever, let's not fill it out. And I ended up like getting like second in the championship. Man, this is like 4 to 6 age group on PW50s, but I finally said it at the banquet that I was below age or something. I don't know. It was whole thing. But yeah, then raced motocross for a long time, and then was doing always ice racing and stuff. Right, we're in the Minnesota here, so
Yep.
studs in the tires, whole thing. Started getting the supermoto because motocross bike with slick tires. Then started doing proper road race stuff when I was probably, I don't know, 14 or 15. Had some friends that did it. Again, moto friends were like, hey, try this thing, and it's like, cool, it's fast and dangerous, and that, I don't know, it's a good time. So and I was yeah, so I went to school, right, Mankato here, and yeah, did a double major in engineering. I was electrical engineering, computer engineering, and I was racing sport bikes during that time. So I was going around doing it was AMA at the time, and then motoamerica in the 600 class. Got some top tens doing that, but the series was kind of falling apart. And then motoamerica picked it up, and it started gaining in popularity, and they've grown it to a pretty good point again now. But yeah, so I was an engineer working at Indian. I was interning there for a while as I was racing and doing the double major thing. And then eventually when I graduated, that was about the time that they said, hey, we're going to start looking into racing these baggers at Laguna Seca. What do you think? And I thought it was a terrible idea, right? So like why? Because I was test riding these bikes, right? I was their top test rider within the company. So I was already sliding these bikes around and drifting them in stock form, and we'd take them to tracks. And I mean, the FTR 1200 you could do quite a bit with. You could drag me on it and back it in and stuff, but they would have me do the same stuff on the bagger, and I would do their traction control analysis. So I'd be, full lean on the thing, scraping the bags or the floorboards, and then getting it to slide and drift and making sure that sport mode, rain, or whatever under different conditions was going to be safe. So I was already used to sliding these monsters around. They said we're going to go race them, and it's like, oh my god. So and then so we went to SNS. Me and my boss at the time, John Fox, he works with the SNS. Well, I guess now it's Benson Hines race team. They brought him over for that, but we went down to SNS and they had me sit on a stock Challenger that was all stripped down. They're like, okay, where do we even need to be sitting on this thing? Where are the handlebars supposed to be? Like, what are we supposed to do with this thing? Because we're trying to turn it into a race bike. Nobody's done it. So I was like, okay, well, the foot pegs kind of need to be back where the passenger pegs are. Can we do that? They're kind of looking at me like, really? Like that far back and whatever. And so they made a bracket that worked for that. Got a pile of rags. I'm just like, nope, more. Like get the seat height up from a touring thing to actually being something more aggressive. So, and from that, I mean, I tested with Tyler the first time. We were going back and forth trying to figure this bike out at a local, kind of go-kart track sort of thing here in Minnesota. And we kind of looked at each other like, man, I don't know if this is a good idea. It was so dangerous and so sketchy. And then, of course, I think it was like the next week they were in Laguna Seca, and he had won on that bike by a decent margin, and that's kind of what catapulted the series in popularity. And so, I mean, we did a decent job at kind of starting from scratch and eyeballing it, but they've come so far since then, it's not even in the same realm. So,
I mean, if I'm on my bagger and I get into a corner and my back tire starts to slide, I'm not thinking I'm in the bagger racing league. I'm thinking, oh fuck, I'm going down. Like that's the first thing that's coming to my mind. I'm not thinking how cool it is that I just broke loose my back tire in a corner. That's not at all what I'm thinking.
No, it's there's a hickey on your seat for sure.
That's right.
Yeah.
No,
yeah, so that was my job to figure out. They would have me shut off the traction control right at these different proving grounds, and I would see what the bike was physically capable of, and they would. I feel like it was like every time I went and did it, like the Bosch guys were like, oh my, like look at this, check this out, or, or whatever, because I'm drifting around these bikes and getting like X% wheel spin throughout the corners or certain lean angles, and it was fun. I definitely love my job those days.
So that's probably where the shaved bags came from, is that you just ground them down around all the corners, and they're like, that's the new shape of the bag because that's where it needs to be
Yeah.
after you shaved it off around all the corners.
Yeah, those are
Yeah,
custom Kyle bags right there. That's,
yeah. Well, yeah, it's funny you mentioned that, because that was we had such an issue with frame scraping on the ground for a while on the front corner bit. And obviously we take a lot of stuff off. You couldn't possibly scrape that on a stock one, but because we take different stuff off and change the geometry of the bike pretty significantly, it became such a problem with scraping that eventually the edges of the front, I can't what they call it. It's like a down piece.
Like the
Anyways,
down tubes?
yeah, so but we clearanced them so much over time that eventually we stopped crashing on them, and this is between like the factory guys and whatever, and that kind of became like the starting spec if you got the new down tubes that
how
Motoamerica said we're going to
funny.
use these, and then so it was goofy because we're trying to do more and more, and try and get away with as much as we could, but the technical director wanted to keep things interesting and exciting, kind of true to the class, instead of just saying, hey, do whatever you want, make it as skinny as you want. Otherwise we'd have taken quite a bit more off.
Right.
Sure,
So he was kind of, and that limited our height, right? We could only go down so far with it before we'd start scraping. But yeah, there are a lot of components still that are self-clearancing on the baggers. And you can hear it every time you go into a corner, and just you're like turn one at Daytona, so you're getting off the banking doing 180 whatever, and you're trying to outbrake the guy next to you, and then you're going all over these nasty bumps. Not sure if you guys saw like the 24 hours of Daytona at all, but those cars are just
oh yeah,
hopping around with that violent suspension. The baggers do the same thing, but you're at lean angle. So when you hit those spots, the the foot peg or the frame or whatever will hit on the ground, and just it's like, oh my gosh, what am I doing?
oh
So,
man,
That's got to be unnerving.
yeah, it's tough. Whereas, I mean, I've raced 600s and thousands there before, and that's just not even a concern. So it's a different approach you have to push into them, because I mean, everyone's pushing these bikes so hard. I mean, there's amazing riders in the class, and everyone's crashing, everyone's struggling with it, but they're just at the limit of what these things can do, and you can't ride it as aggressive as a sport bike. So you try.
Right.
But,
Yeah.
It is
Yeah.
having been to I've been to one race. I was at a race in Brainerd, and
yeah, my home track.
yeah. So I, you ride there on a bagger, and then you go watch the race, and you're like, shit. I mean, you totally get that they're not the same bike, right? As soon as you walk down into the pits and you see the bikes, you're like, yeah, that's not my bagger that I rode in on, right? So you get that part of it for sure. But then when you see them out on the track and you see these giant motorcycles that are just being tossed around, it is pretty incredible. There's something about it that it's so unnatural that's part of I think part of the excitement of it, is that part of it. Is just how unnatural it looks, but how amazing it is that these motorcycles are doing these things that they're just not designed to do, which I think is also the appeal to it, right? Let's take something that's not meant to do any of the things that we're doing with it, and we're going to do that, right? It's like Evel Knievel jumping a Sportster over 10 buses, right? Who jumps a Sportster? You know what I mean? That's like the worst idea ever. So,
right.
like it's the same, to me, it's like the same premise, right? So no, I huge admiration. And I think that the biggest thing that I love about it is that I kind of get the same thrill if I like watch like some of the ADV riders ride these bikes. I watched a guy just today, in fact, he did a U-turn on a single lane road, and he basically rode his bike up the hill and let it back down so he could make the corner. You know what I mean? So he rides it up, puts it in neutral so he could make the corner. And it just reminds me, just at the point when you think you're a kind of an okay rider, you realize what a shitty rider you are when you see good riders actually doing amazing things on these motorcycles. Then you're like, yeah, I'm horrible. Like I shouldn't even be riding a motorcycle compared to what these guys can do on them. So
That's funny.
Yeah.
So Justin,
I was going to say,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I always tease Kyle. I wouldn't feel comfortable, riding that bike in a straight line as fast as he takes hairpin corners on that thing. It's wild.
For sure.
right.
Yeah, it's so impressive to watch these races, and I'm sure in person even more. Just what? So going into this year, let me back up. So, last year, walking away from last year, what was the biggest takeaway? Like what was the biggest takeaway? What was the biggest aha moment? And what was the biggest surprise that you had from the first year?
Yeah, man, so much. We were definitely drinking from a fire hose on our end because, like Kyle mentioned, this is our first venture into road racing, and I mean it. Like Kyle said, this is the pinnacle of the sport. So yeah, a lot of things. Man, probably the biggest takeaway is for me was how quick the sport is evolving. And I think from a fan or a spectator, you you might not see it, or it might not be quite as evident. But we're racing. I mean, last year they had 6 factory riders, so 3 Indian and 3 Harley,
Hmm.
and then several other, very well, um, bigger teams, I guess, much bigger than what we're working with. So much bigger budgets, um,
Sure.
and the technology is just evolving so quickly. If you look at the times, like the fastest lap. I mean, almost every race weekend they're setting a new lap record. You know,
By like two
Gotcha.
seconds.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, not
it's
by a little bit,
significant.
yeah, significant.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And, like year to year, it's done that. So
Yeah,
it's getting
Amazing.
harder though.
and a lot of that is just the evolving technology. The teams are getting better, they're figuring things out, and just getting better year after year. And so to try to keep up with that, yeah, I mean, shoot, I think Moto America put out a video. I forget what race weekend it was on. Might have been Atlanta, but it was kind of a side by side, the super bikes and the baggers, and it was amazing how close. I mean, the super bikes are still faster, but it's amazing how close the the baggers are getting, um, to these bikes that are purpose built race bikes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, so to
That's amazing.
try, yeah, and to try and keep up with that, I think that was a real eye opener. Where again, we kind of went into the season feeling like we had all the right parts, and all the right things in place, and to realize that we needed to continue to invest and push all year long because all the other teams were doing that. So it's a definite challenge, but it's fun, right? I mean, that's
Sure.
the interesting part about it. It's definitely not hit a plateau yet. Um, yeah, so there's more
I
time to.
mean, if they're setting records by that big a margin year after year, there definitely hasn't hit a plateau yet. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Interesting. So that's the biggest takeaway. Like, anything else? I mean, what surprised you the most in this first year?
Yeah, um, we kind of tried to go into it with a pretty open mind, because again,
Mhm.
I mean, we knew we didn't know what we didn't know, but we did know we didn't know a lot. There was a lot to learn, if that makes any
Sure.
sense. So
Oh yeah.
yeah, really, again, probably just the biggest surprise was, um, how much we would have to kind of continue to work on improving throughout the year. And uh, you know, Kyle went down in Laguna. We weren't able to race that weekend, and due to injury, we missed Mid Ohio, um, and then got back in for Coda in New Jersey. And it was amazing to see, just missing those 2 race weekends. Um, how much, because when we were in it and we were kind of, um, I guess, making improvements right along with the other teams. You didn't see it as much, but we took that break, got back in at Coda, and um, I guess I was surprised at how much like the other teams had continued to advance, and we kind of, I would say, fell behind. But and Kyle's still recovering from injury, and probably wasn't at his peak necessarily either. But yeah,
Sure.
we're
His
it,
surgery on the ankle and the shoulder was pretty well separated.
Oh,
yeah.
Not good.
just
Daggers are heavy. A lot of muscle around.
a few minor bumps and bruises. Holy shit!
Yeah, it slapped me to the ground pretty good. So yeah, sorry, Dustin.
No, you're fine. But yeah, and Kyle, I mean, you probably got better insights on that than I do. But I, I guess I was surprised. If you're not in it every weekend, I mean, like Kyle said, this is for the sport. It's the top level. And so if you're not in it, pushing every weekend, it's amazing how quick you can kind of fall behind, I guess.
Yeah, it's not just the off season work you're putting in, right? It's what you're doing between races is just as important as what you're doing in the off season. It's what it sounds like to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And even during the weekends, I mean, if you're having a motor issue or something and you miss a session, you're back, immediately right away. Like you're down a significant amount on your data and what information you can provide the team, and then just testing different stuff like, okay, this tire compound, this pressure, this spring rate or valving, or throttle map, engine braking mapping. We're changing all kinds of stuff on this thing track to track just to really hone in on because everything's different. You can't just run the same bike at every track. So
Sure.
when you change gearing, it changes your wheelbase, and with that, you need to change your ride heights to balance everything back out. There's a lot of moving parts. But yeah, I mean, if you miss one session or practice, you're on your back foot the rest of the weekend trying to play catch up for all these other people that every time you go out, you go faster. I mean,
Sure.
assuming weather, all that fun stuff, but that's typically how it goes. So every session you're out, you're trying to treat it like qualifying and pushing as hard as you can, which and from like lap one, you know what I mean? Like we'll get to Daytona right away, and well, uh, it's hard to find test time for the baggers, right? So it's expensive to go and do. Especially right now, it's tricky to try and find any tracks. I think Homestead is one. Jennings, the bikes are too loud there. Just it's not a good option. Sport bikes you can do it, but the baggers are just too loud for their decibel rating. So, but yeah, so a lot of these people, I mean, they're not ridden the bike in quite a while. So you'll hop on. I mean, from lap one, it's wide open on the banking. It's not like, oh, kind of tiptoe, whatever, 20 minutes. Like you got maybe one sighting lap at like a moderate pace, and then it's sprint. Otherwise, you're falling behind. So it's tough.
So can you guys share with us, and maybe you can't, but you can't just go to a store and buy the parts. So you must have to partner with some type of place that can manufacture parts for you, because everything besides, I mean, there's so many parts on those bikes that are custom. So how does that come about when when you're refining your peg placement or your whatever, where or how are parts being manufactured?
Yep. So at least I can talk on my end. I know Justin's got a whole other section that he's responsible for, but so I'm responsible for the suspension chassis stuff along with the riding. So I own a suspension and chassis tuning company, Adrenaline Engineering, and do a bunch of the different CAD work and different design work. And then there's machine shops that we work with to make us our custom parts, but I'll largely design them. So go simulate stuff, model different components, see how it's going to affect the bike, and kind of utilize the engineering background to mix in with the feedback from the riding. Um, and that's kind of so like the different linkage or what ride heights, what shock lengths, what valving, all that stuff. So we have a shock dyno. We'll put stuff on and figure out, at this curve, what does this look like? Because we have sensors all over the bike, right? So we can see exactly how I'm getting on the throttle. We can't have wheel speed sensors, but I can tell, at least when I come off the track, I'm spinning here. That's making the bike pump here, or it's not transferring enough weight, or whatever it may be, or the bike is wallowing, it's too soft. We can figure out exactly what velocity needs to change, and we can go to the shock dyno and revalve it and affect only that one region without, losing in the other areas. So, and that's again, that's kind of more the what more factory teams do, right? But being able to be a rider and have that knowledge gets us pretty far. And then, like I said, we have a bunch of different companies we partner with to help us get some of that stuff made. And then Justin's got a bunch of resources. I think you guys have an entire machine shop that's um, getting running now. So I think most of the stuff will end up going that route.
I was going to ask
Yeah.
Justin if y'all were making any of the parts in house. So
Yeah. So the first year or last year, I guess, we didn't do a whole lot of parts, in house. One of the things that I'll step back and say real quick is, when we started, we worked pretty close with Indian and the factory team, which was SNS at the time, and for this 2026 is going to be Vance and Hines, but they were fantastic to work with, and so we did buy a lot of parts. I would say the vast majority of the parts were sourced through SNS. They've been fantastic to work with, super helpful. We are kind of slowly working into kind of designing our own parts and where it makes sense. Um,
With our own variants and kind of what not so much off the shelf stuff, right? If there's things we want tailored in a certain way, like you mentioned, the different put peg stuff or whatever, maybe they don't have an option that works for us. We'll have something we'll have to do custom on our end.
yeah,
Sure.
exactly. Yeah, but it has been great working with them, but having the capability and having a year under our belt to collect some data and get some ideas and get a better feel for what might make sense for us to make ourselves, and like Kyle said, really where's the need, where's the customizations that we need for our team, or that we
Right.
want to try.
I mean, really, what I'm hearing is that you need to be an engineer to ride that bike.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah. The interesting bit. So I was a rider and a racer long before I even really knew what engineering was, right? So I kind of got that mindset, and then I brought the engineering stuff back into it. So I was setting bikes up for, when I was younger, tuning them into what I wanted, and then I'd go hop on friends' bikes and be like, oh, you got to do this, this, and this, and they would go faster consequently. So it's good fun, but it's like, okay, what is this really doing? Okay, if I change preload on the rear or ride height or something, what is this affecting elsewhere on the motorcycle? So, like I was like, okay, I got to do the engineering thing and figure that one out and figure out what happens inside the black box. What is this all doing to the bike? And that really helped me. But when I'm riding, you got to shut the engineer brain off, because there's plenty of engineers they'll be fast riders, but they won't push that last little bit, right? Where, to where people, if they only grew up racing, they only know that side, they'll be able to go insanely fast and just focus on the pure racing side, but they largely can't communicate what direction they want the bike to go. So they rely on crew chiefs or data people to go in and guess at what direction they want it to go. And obviously the crew chiefs have been around for a long time, have the experience, they have a better shot at getting it right. But for us and our team, me having done that for a long time, the actual analyzing all the data and everything, and then riding and knowing how those two pieces go together, we can get it right nearly every time. So it's definitely an advantage there, but
you speak their
it's
language,
tough.
right? I mean, at the end of the day, you speak their language. That's got to be so helpful. I mean, it's got to be so beneficial.
well, and then it also sounds like his wife
Yeah.
is riding him pretty closely too. If he's not doing what he's supposed to be
That's
doing.
right. Yeah. That's right.
Yeah, well, the data's the bullshit indicator, right? So you can tell if you're like, no, I was wide open there. It's like, no, you weren't. I can see it right here in the data. So, yeah. So no, I mean, but that's kind of how I got into it, anyways, right? So I was it's kind of a weird niche thing that I have. So I was a factory suspension and chassis tuner as Tyler got his championship on the baggers for Indian that first year. So I was going all around doing that stuff and then test riding with them. And then like I said, and working with Jeremy McWilliams and Bobby Fong, like I was the guy that the riders would come back to, they'd bitch, tell me like, oh, I'm almost dying here, it's doing this, and I have to be the one to go look at the data and then try and relay and be like, okay, well, if I'm riding, I know if I change this, that it's going to feel this, and that's what they really want, even though they said the exact opposite thing, right? So, did well doing that, interpreting the riders' usually pretty poor feedback. It's not really like, oh, add 3 turns of preload or whatever. It's normally like the bike won't turn, and they bring it back and they put their arm on the ground and they just walk away, and it's like, cool. Well, does it not turn on entry or mid corner? Like, what's actually happening to make it not turn? Because the bike could be doing this or a whole host of other things that's affecting it. So to be able to like understand that and interpret it helps quite a bit. So usually when I go out for say qualifying session, I'll go push as hard as I possibly can, for those few laps, and then I'll take a lap after and figure out like, okay, in my head go through like if I change this or tried taking this different line, would this help me, right? And then I kind of go the more analytical route. We'll come into the pits, tell my wife, right? So if she knows all the suspension stuff, she knows how to revalve stuff, um, knows how to make all the changes. So I'll tell her like, hey, let's change this, this, and this. And I'll go back out and then usually end up going quicker. And then if we get to the end of an adjustment range, right, like you have no more preload or no more whatever to go, then, it's back and can't do anything till the next session. So kind of a try again.
Do you ever blame her when you have a bad lap after you've told her to make some adjustments?
No.
It sounds like
no,
a terrible.
pretty,
sounds like a terrible idea.
Cal, you're
No,
a really
I mean-
smart man. You don't learn that in books, man. Nice job, buddy.
Yeah. Well, no, it's it's a whole thing. The whole rider aspect, it's very like some riders are very mental, right? And you have to be careful of what you tell them or how you interact with them, right? So, and I will say a lot of riders blame the bike. Like, oh, it's not doing this, I can't do it, whatever, and it's always the bike's issue.
Sure.
And we've had it plenty of times to where the bike does everything I want it to do, but there's just something to where like I need to clean it up. You know what I mean? So I'm not just like, oh, it's the bike, it's the bike. There's always things that I know I can do better as a rider, or I need to ride the bike in a different way in order to get the best result out of it. So I'm usually honest with myself, trying to figure out, is it something I need to improve, or is it the bike? And last year, I mean, especially after I got back from injury, I couldn't train as hard as I was for a while, recovering from surgery. So I got back, and my shoulders, I couldn't muscle the bike around how I wanted. The cardio was still pretty good, but again, not quite where I wanted it for the longer qualifying sessions. And we came back at Coda, which is the most physical track. I think there's, what is it, like 20 something turns in there. I should really know, but it's a very physical track. And I went to New Jersey, which is also very physical. And I told the guys like, hey, the bike is very capable. I need to be stronger right now. So I've been working in this off season to make sure that I'm doing everything I can to make sure I'm strong enough in those areas and not be a limiting factor. Because like I said, you could always come back and just be like, oh, bike sucks and walk away, but that's not going to help the team. That's not going to help
Sure. Well,
anyone.
Good
so
for
it's,
you, Kyle. I mean, that's self-awareness, and that's a big thing. I mean, I wish I had more of it at times, and my girlfriend would probably say the same thing, but that's a whole nother story. But that says a lot. You're right. It's easy to blame somebody or something else, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean, that's every day. You know what I mean? It's like,
Sure.
you wake up late or whatever, and it's like, oh, well, whatever. Like your whole day's off, and you blame it on the one thing instead of being like, man, I really should have been, set my alarm or
Yeah,
whatever.
it wasn't the red
yeah,
light's fault. You should have got up earlier.
yeah, exactly.
Luke,
Yeah.
Luke, really what I'm
So,
hearing here is my takeaway is if we can't tune our suspension to go straight down the road on our bikes, we're morons. That's what I'm hearing. That's my takeaway, right? I mean,
Yeah.
like he has a whole company designed to tune suspension, and I can't figure out why my front end keeps bottoming out. I'm like, for real, like.
yeah, no. So we do a lot of we get a lot of Harleys in, and Indian. I mean, a lot of sport bikes, a lot of motocross bikes. We do a really wide array, so a lot of hard enduro stuff. Anyways, but yeah, a lot of the issue with the baggers is always the wallowing, right? And a lot of movement going on with there. And a lot of the stuff is, it depends on, their target market, right? So you have people that are expecting performance, which performance you give away some comfort in order to get some feel, right?
Sure.
But if, say if somebody that wants the comfort rides the bike that's more performance based, they're going to be pretty bummed out because they're going to be feeling the bumps and they're like, oh, it feels harsh. I don't like it, whatever. But the issue and what we find, even going from like a stock sport bike, say a stock R6 to something with more performance suspension, um, is that people aren't used to feeling stuff on the bike. So any perception of feeling any type of bump is treated as bad. But if it's soft like that and you're going to a corner, you don't know at all what your tires are doing. You don't know if they're sliding. You don't know if you're connected to the ground. You have no feedback from the bike at all. So you have this, you either have too soft, too wallowy, or you have performance, right? And there's a fun area in the middle, and it kind of changes as your riding level changes or how hard you're pushing the bike. So
Sure.
so I'm guessing when you're bottoming out on your bike, right, or it's wallowing or doing something you don't like, you're riding it more aggressive.
My guess
So
is also is I do have a performance suspension on my bike, and I would say that there's
yep.
a 98% probability that it's probably not tuned quite the way it should be.
Yeah.
Because
Have you ever touched the clickers?
what's that?
You ever touch the clickers on that? Any turn
I
anything?
have on the back end because it's a
Okay.
little bit more straightforward. But on I have Batubo, if you're familiar with Batubo suspension.
Yeah.
And I know
Yep,
that
good stuff.
the right and left legs do two different things. And so I'll be quite honest with you, I'm fairly terrified that I'm going to screw something up. And so I know
You probably
it's
already have. You
I
probably
know
already screwed something up.
I know that it's set correctly from the factory because I had to give him like my dimensions, height and weight, and what bike it was going in. So I know like that. And
It's a guess still,
yeah,
you know.
right.
Yeah.
So my thought process in my brain is that it's probably not quite set the way that I want it to be. It's 1,000 times better than stock, but I still probably I need to learn something about suspension before I get out there. And I'm not a race rider. I'm a distance rider. I like to cross state lines and that kind of stuff. And I really just
Yes, you don't want to feel anything. You want to
well
just
not
glide,
entirely,
you
right? I
know.
don't want it to
Yeah,
be.
he's old.
Yeah,
He wants a lot of cushion on his old ass.
I don't want it to
That's
be.
what he
I don't
really
want it to be a
wants. He just-
Cadillac.
yeah.
So I want to.
Yeah.
I want
Float down the
to.
road.
I don't want the tires to slide out from underneath me in a corner. I need to feel that, right? And so I've been riding a long time, and Luke's not wrong. I'm oldish. Let's not say old Luke, because that's just that's not fair. So
Quit your whining. Quit your whining.
hey,
Whatever.
I waited a long time to have kids. I'm young at heart. Let's just say I've been married longer than you've probably been alive, Kyle.
31.
Oh, I'll be married
So-
30 years this summer.
Okay, yeah. Pretty close.
Nailed
so.
it. Nailed it.
Nailed it.
Yeah, I think yeah, and it's autumn. One of the younger people in the class too. It's an interesting one.
Yeah, I got
So-
married when I was 12, so there's that. I mean,
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's probably legal in North Dakota. I don't know
Might
what
have
y'all
been.
do.
I was. I'll give you this. I was 20 when I got married, so I did do that. So
So
But yeah. So no, anyways, with I mean, any advice I can give to people on the suspension stuff, especially if you have the aftermarket stuff, it's a mechanical system, right? It's repeatable. So just count where your clickers are. If you don't know how to do it, there's plenty of resources for that. But no, just try different stuff. I mean, and don't do like 1 or 2 clicks. Do like 5 or 10. Like go like big changes, and then go take it down the street, take it back, whatever. And that's how you're gonna find out what you like. And maybe you get to the end of your suspension on the adjuster, and you're still not happy, but it's in a better direction.
right.
You can go to your suspension tuner. This is something we do largely, right? People come back to us and say, I need the whole thing shifted to another window. And that way you're back centered with your clicks on that same force of where you're at. So that's how you tune a bike in. So that whole experience that you're kind of feeling there, that's what we do every single weekend. But we're like with pointy little edges,
Right.
that we're, start here, working on a bike to where you're everything's precise.
Wow.
So, but it's that same like principle If you're always trying different stuff
Sure.
every weekend, even if the bike is working well, it can always be better.
That's great advice, because that's absolutely the opposite of what, like, when you like read the manual, it tells you to like make little changes. And you're like, no, make a huge change and then back off.
Well, you want to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The amount of times,
No, it makes
and
perfect
this is
sense.
across the board. Yeah. This is across the board with like moto or whatever. People are like, oh, like you want to know for sure if it was better or worse. You don't want to be like,
Yeah.
well, maybe it was a little bit better here. It's like, no, you need to do a much more significant step, and that way you know for sure if that was the right direction. So like on the bagger stuff, or qualifying or practice, whatever, like we're realistically on track for a very short period of time.
Right.
And we're trying to figure out and most of us know the tracks at this point, which is good, but the setups are different, conditions are different. So we're making sometimes pretty big changes at the wall just to get the to get to the result faster. So if we did 2 clicks at a time, we'd be there days. You know what I mean?
Right.
Where if you do it in bigger steps, you can get it done faster.
Sure.
Can you guys hear me okay still?
Okay,
I had to
sorry about
switch off my headphones. So
Yeah.
hopefully there's not.
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. Hopefully there's not a lot of background noise. We got young kids upstairs that are
All good.
it's
all good.
bedtime and they don't want to go to bed, and yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, usually what I did with our kids is I would go in to tuck them in or whatever, and if they didn't want to tuck them in, you just hold the pillow over them for a little while. They lay real still real quick. It works. It works better than you might think.
Yeah.
John
Stay
and
tuned
NyQuil.
next week.
Yeah.
Stay tuned next week. We'll show you.
Whatever.
We'll show you a video of Ryan getting arrested. It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be fantastic. All right.
How to use chloroform.
That's great. Just need a step 1, get a rag. Anyway.
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, so obviously you guys are racing an Indian bike. There's Harleys out there. Was there a motivation for Indian over Harley? Was it just an opportunity that arose and it's worked out great? How, what's kind of the story around going with Indian as opposed to a Harley?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. So, there really wasn't in the beginning. We sell products for both brands. We don't have really a preference one way or the other. So when we got into it, it really was just kind of happened to be the opportunity. Like I said, Kyle's team had reached out to us, kind of just sponsorship in the beginning. And so we kind of made that connection and really made a good connection with the team in New Jersey, and it just seemed like a good fit. But
Sure.
What I will say, kind of in hindsight and knowing what I know now, one of the things that I think has been really great is on the Indian side is, there's a lot more Harleys in the field than there are Indian. And I've never had a Harley team, but Indian has been really great about helping and supporting us because they don't have as many of the satellite teams, so they've been fantastic to work with. And it could absolutely be the same case on the Harley side. I don't know. I haven't been on that side, but
Sure.
I can say that Indian has really been great to work with, and the S&S team.
That's
And
awesome.
yeah, and hopefully this year, hopefully the Vance and Hines team as well. We've had a couple conversations with them. They seem really open and like a really good company to work with. They've obviously got a lot of history in
Sure.
racing, so looking forward to some of that. But they're obviously, they kind of got thrown into it, and so they're just trying to do everything they can. They were racing Harleys last year, so making the move to Indian and learning a lot there. And so I think they've got their hands full just kind of trying to get the factory team up and going. But we've had a couple conversations with them already, and I'm excited to to see where that goes too.
They're drinking from the fire hose this year, like you guys last year, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's awesome.
So,
all right.
are there any stock things on the bike that rules and regulations do not allow you to change?
Yeah, the frame, transmission, cases. I suppose around 112. I think they make there's a production 112. Um, oof. Yeah, I think those are kind of the big ones. Other than that, I mean, they're pretty different, right? So triple trees, forks, shock, swing arm, linkage, wheels, it's chain drive instead of belt drive.
You don't have
Sure.
and there's not
Electronics
working
package.
lights or anything like that on the bike, right?
No, no, we gotta let maybe not more thumb buttons, but ours do a lot of different stuff. So right, we have engine braking maps and throttle maps that you can toggle around. We have a rain light and stuff like that. But yeah, we use the spec ECU is a max ECU. And that's something different from last year. That's one of the biggest rule changes heading into this season is everyone has to be on a spec ECU with lockdown software. So I think some teams got in trouble last year for having illegal traction control and RPM that would float above certain
Oh,
limits. So I'm not
interesting.
gonna. Yeah. So anyway, so I'm pretty excited for that one just because it will. It takes away a lot of the gray areas, I guess that existed. So if you're a bigger team, you have a lot of time to test and kind of exploit some of that stuff.
Okay.
But if you're a smaller team, you're not able to test as frequently.
Sure.
That kind of limits what you can all tinker with, right? And racing is largely about, what you can do in those gray areas, right? So I think everyone knows kind of that NASCAR thing to where you were limited on fuel tank size, but then some guy came in with like 5-inch hose or something, you know what I mean?
Yep.
Just to skirt around the rules. So I mean, that's stuff like that is always going on in every single class. So and the technical director is a great guy, Teague. So just seeing him over the years and some of the stuff that we tried, right when I was working with Indian, we'd go up to tech and he'd look at it and be like, nope. Just right off the bat. And it's like, what? Come on, that's like a frame slider. And it's like, no. So it's been interesting.
So is it like is it like basketball or football, or you win the race and you automatically have to go into the pit and they do a blood test and then they make you take all the parts off your bike so they can make sure that your bike isn't on steroids and that kind
Well,
of
like
stuff?
NASCAR, right? You got to go through spec after a race.
Yeah, so all the all the bikes get weighed, and as far as if they tear bikes down, because they will tear bikes down to the crank, right? And then that's they found some stuff doing that before. But it's not a guarantee every time. It's kind of up to the technical director and motoamerica their discretion on if they're tearing down that weekend. If somebody's like blatantly way faster, and they don't know why, like you're getting torn down.
Yeah.
So
just
and
like
they can,
a blood test in Major League Baseball or whatever,
yeah,
right? Yeah.
yeah. There's a half-hour time frame, right? For the riders, there's not a minimum weight for that. I know in other classes there are, right? So there's a combined minimal weight for the bike and the rider. We don't have that, so the lighter you are, the better it is. You just need to
Okay.
make sure that you're strong enough. So it's kind of
Interesting.
for the rider, it's like, okay, you need to be strong enough to muscle this really, really heavy thing around, but then light enough that you get a benefit there. So that's why you see these kind of stocky riders a lot of the times.
So you don't want to, like, you want to win the race, but you don't want to win the race by like 15 seconds, because then they're just gonna tear your bike apart right as soon as you get into the pits.
Yeah, that, or maybe you had an advantage that the other teams didn't know about.
Sure.
Right. So
then they find out the advantage, right?
Yeah, well, exactly. Or they're gonna be like, oh man, we're farther behind than we thought. So I remember there was this is forever ago at this point, but one of the years Tyler was in like third or something like that, and then came from third all the way up to first. I mean, on the last lap, last corner, and I think his plan was to make it look like it was a draft pass. But any racer that has raced Daytona or seen what a draft pass looks like could tell, like, oh, it's just horsepower. Selling on the banking.
Yeah, I'm pretty
sure
there was viral video of that, because I think all of us saw that race where the Indian bike came and like passed like 5 bikes, just like blew by him on one part of the track, and everyone was like, "Holy shit, something's way different here."
The guy just hit nitrous. What the hell?
Yeah.
Yeah. So And so for a long time, the Indians had the faster motor, but the chassis was more limited, right? Just as far as some of the rule stuff, they've now changed that a little bit for us. But yeah, so the Indians had the motor, Harley had the chassis, right? And that's now kind of flipped, and it's a lot more even now than it was prior.
Sure.
So they've come a long ways, and as far as making it more fair.
So you look at the
Better
rule.
battles,
So
better
you look at
racing.
the rules as being something that aligns all the teams more fairly, as opposed to just limiting you.
Yeah, that's the that's the whole goal, right? So I'm pretty good friends with the technical director, right, with that, and he's kind of explained it to me, right? Um, you want to make it exciting, you want to make the racing close, try not to give somebody else an edge, but also you don't want to make it so it's insanely expensive so that you don't want to make it so it's just factory teams
Right.
basically, to where if they had, so for example, if they had the weight limit down farther, they could use exotic materials and titaniums or more carbon fiber or whatever. You could make it insanely expensive and get the weight down more, but they limit it just to try and keep the cost somewhat reasonable. It's definitely not cheap
Right.
to go and
Right.
run
Sure.
motoamerica on those
Right.
bikes. But they're doing what they can to make it as exciting of a show as possible. Then Indians, pushing, and Harley's pushing. They're always kind of back and forth, like, well, they got this, well, we want this, and it's just like, I would not want to be in Moto America's shoes on that one. It's a tough job for sure,
Right.
because everyone wants to
Right.
win.
Right.
Sure. Big juggling
So
act for sure.
It's
yeah,
great. It's great to hear that perspective, right? Because from a spectator on the outside, looking in, it you so many people root for the underdog, right? And so the
yeah.
last thing that anybody wants to see when they go to a race is, one, two, three Harley factory teams right at the very, very front. You know what I mean?
Or yeah, vice versa.
Right, that
Yeah,
are
it's yep.
sponsored by the large corporation, and all the small guys are just trying to keep up, right? And then once a season you have a small guy hit a podium. Like, nobody wants to see that. Everybody wants to see some amount of success for everybody, right? But at the end of the day, the idea that your outlook is that the rules are there to make it competitive, kind of environment for everyone, so that it's entertaining, and we all want to see and watch, because when all the bikes are lined up, then it's fair, right? When all the
Or
bikes are,
they
yeah,
try.
yeah.
Yeah,
I mean, because if it wasn't, the only part of it that would be fun would be the first 35 seconds, right? Because then that the factory teams are going
Yeah.
to pull ahead and they're going to win, and everyone else is just going to be racing for fourth, right? And so, no, that's a great. I love to hear that perspective, because then it gives you that, kind of that feeling like you can root for the underdog. You know what I mean? It's kind of like no one wants to see the Yankees win or the Dodgers win every single year, right? I mean, the the World Series last year was really hella exciting until you saw the payroll of the Dodgers, and you're like,
Yeah.
wow.
I'm a fourth generation Yankees fan, so I come by it honestly,
Yeah.
but the hell with the Dodgers.
Right.
Anyway,
Yeah, I mean,
I digress. I digress.
they paid one player like $900 million. So
Yeah. So all right. So we've been doing this for a few minutes, quite a while now. So we appreciate your time and be respectful of it. But I do have one
all good.
question for each of you before we sign off. I want a prediction on the season. And I'll leave that open. I don't want to paint you into a corner, but leave that open to how you want it, like how many wins, what you're going to determine success is, how many times Kyle's wife yells at him, whatever that is, just
Yeah.
what are predictions for the upcoming season? We'll start with you, Justin.
Oh man, okay, that's a tough one. Yeah, I think our our end goal is just to be fighting for those front spots. Fighting for a podium each and every time we get out on the track. We don't expect to win every race. It'd be great. That's the goal, right? It is always the goal to
Absolutely.
win. Always the goal. but maybe not the expectation to win every time. So, but to be up there fighting for a podium each and every race is really the goal. I'd like to finish, um, in the top 4 or 5 teams. I think that's one thing that can be difficult in this particular, I guess, class is reliability, because it is so
Sure.
new. So if you can come out and be consistent too, your overall placement, that just being consistent is huge in terms of overall rankings. So yeah, kind of top 5, I think, overall, and yeah, and definitely get on the podium a few times.
So Kyle, no pressure. No pressure
Yeah.
at all. No,
Oh,
no. I mean,
if
the boss
it's
man
there, we'll do it.
just set the expectations. So so Kyle, what is
Yeah.
what is success? What are the goals for this year for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, largely what Justin had said. I mean, we know from last year, kind of where we needed to improve, and I think we've done a good job in the off season on making sure we have a lot of those boxes checked. So we're faster, stronger, um, and
Healthy.
uh, yeah. Last year went into the season with some stuff torn up, so I was racing. Every time I went to lean off the bike on the right side, it hurt pretty bad. My ankle would go and dislocate.
Oh,
So
nothing major.
yeah, so it's
Holy
not so
shit.
cool. So we were that was side by side with Bradley Smith at Daytona race one. So we were like that was a pass for third there. That was on lap one. We didn't do that great in qualifying because the bike blew up um, on that whole thing. But anyways, we were in a spot. I think I ended up fourth that race, but the bike died on the banking there when I was trying to make that pass. I went back to last place and then caught up through the race, ended up fourth. But had I just not had the bike shut off. We ended up figuring out what is a weird electrical uh, issue, which we've not had since. So I think we got that one sorted. But anyways, we've been in the spot to do that, and I had the fastest times. I think Wyman had I think 2 laps that were quicker than mine, but the setup that we had was working really well for the weird conditions for that day. So and heading into Atlanta, we had some really good pace there too. Um, as far as we were within, I think the top 3 or 4, and my quickest lap of the weekend got it was red flagged on that lap, but it was a time that would have put me front row in the grid.
Oh,
So we know we can do it.
sure.
Um, and we have enough data on track to track now, and got a new setup, new team. Of course, everyone changes every year. Every team is thinking the same thing, like, okay, we know what we did last year. We're stronger, we're faster, whatever, right? So, and nobody really knows until you get to Daytona. It's so exciting, right? Like nerve-wracking. It's like, okay, did we do enough? Like we're doing everything we can. Justin, the whole tab team, have been, I mean, working their butts off every day. I get updates on my phone of them playing around the dyno or whatever. It's funny stuff in there too, but we're I think yeah. So if we can stay in the top 5 range and be fighting with those factory teams like we have in the past, 'cause, I mean our budget size is significantly different, right? But we're doing uh, a lot, I guess, with a little. So I was looking for more sponsors and
Sure.
people to come on board with us, but uh, we do pretty dang good for what we have, and like I said, good off season. Like I said, I'm in good shape, feel strong. Um, yeah, and we'll see what we get.
So
So
consistency,
yeah,
being competitive, and you're going to do all that with do more with less than these big factory teams.
Yeah.
Dude, I mean, if this isn't an
yeah,
ESPN 30 for 30 waiting to happen, I don't know
That's
what
right.
is, man. I'm ready
Yeah.
for
I
it.
know who I'm
yeah.
cheering for.
We've done it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've gotten on the box before, and made the factory guys nervous. So
I love it.
so it's good. But I think that one of the biggest things that our team really pushes for is just like having fun with. We're all friends, even outside of
That's
the
awesome.
racing stuff, which I know other teams can't necessarily say that. So we're so all throughout the weekend we're having a good time. We're serious. We're getting getting our stuff done. But I guess like one example of this is like like on the grid, you know what I mean? We're heading up to 1 week we were doing the MotoGP race, you know, whatever they were hosting the baggers at Coda that weekend, and like Rocco Landers is pointing to the front of my bike, and I was like, oh my God, is there something wrong with my bike, whatever? And he's like no, on the front, whatever, we had a what was it, a Fig Newton sticker like on the Ricky Bobby thing. So I pointed the sticker, and he's like this as we're going up to grid up for this, you know, very serious race. And then like as we're sitting there, we're laughing, you know, got the umbrella thing up, and Corey West is in the back, and he's like, all right, I'll, you know, who's getting beers after this, or what, you know, whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's
it.
it's pretty good, but those guys had some fun too. But anyway, so like when you go around, there's one crew person left sitting at your grid spot, right? And they usually, you know, say something inspirational or fist bump you or whatever. Uh, my team, for some reason, because they know that I know exactly what I got to do. I know what marks I got to hit and what to change and what approach I'm going to do. So they don't say like, oh, make sure you whatever do this into turn one. Like they'll pick like the dumbest thing to say. Uh, like one, I think the Coda one was like it's like a Ricky Bobby thing. He's like, in the words of Colonel Sanders, I'm too drunk to taste this chicken. And he like fist bumped me and walked off the grid, and like it's like, oh my God, okay, here we go.
Oh,
You know?
I love it. This is
So,
great.
but we're having a good time, but we're taking it serious. But again, if you're not having fun, there's no point to it. There's too much energy, too much time, everything from everyone. So if you're not enjoying it, there's no point.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
love that. That's a good
couldn't
tension
agree more.
breaker right before
Yeah.
you have to like rip your bike at 200 miles an hour around some corner on a bike that's not meant to do half the shit that it's doing, right? So you might as well get a Ricky Bobby quote in there right before right before that. I mean,
Yeah.
Yeah, perspective too, right?
yeah,
Like, hey,
absolutely,
you know,
absolutely.
yeah, I love
Yeah, so not sure to do with my hands. You know what I mean? Like it's, we we have a lot of fun. So like a goal, I guess, would be get try and get a podium at Daytona, because we've been so close the last few
Sure.
years. I mean, I've got fourth and fifth couple times there. It's like, oh, it's like right there, you know.
Yeah.
So try and start the season strong and then keep going from there.
Sure.
So
let's talk schedule real quick. So Daytona is your first race. What's is that the first weekend of March? What are the dates on that?
5th through the, I think 7th and 8th. Does that sound right, Kyle? I don't have it in front of me, but
yeah, it's like 5th and 6th. There's
So first
it's
weekend
one
of
them.
March.
Yeah, we're there.
Right? Yeah, and then so that's for King of Baggers, and then y'all are going to do a BRL race this year, correct?
that's the plan. We still got to finalize that, but BRL runs an event in Hastings, Nebraska, which is, you know, just down the street from us. And timeline, it works out pretty well. It looks like we're going to have, we're going to be available to head out there this weekend. So that'll be kind of exciting. It'll be something different. It'll be in our home state. We're hoping to bring out, you know, a lot of our employees and stuff, and maybe make a weekend out of it.
That'd be great.
Yeah.
Well, folks, King of Bagger Racing League, check them out. Tab Performance, Indian Motorcycle. If you want to make a trip to Nebraska and see them whoop up on the BRL boys, that'd be the weekend to do it. I can't wait to see that. And before we sign off, you know, a big announcement for us, and I don't know that Kyle's aware of this, but Tab Performance has come on board to partner with Moto State Podcast to be a sponsor of the podcast, and part of that is I get to sit in and race one of the races. I get to ride the bike. So, but on the back, I'm gonna be your backpack. I'm not sure if Justin told. Yeah, so.
Yeah, hold on tight.
Yeah, I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with my hands. You'll have to show me. But
he might wrap his legs around you too. So just fair warning.
I'm gonna be scared to death. So whatever advice you could give me will be great. No, seriously.
That's funny.
You know, Justin, in case you couldn't join us, I know he's doing dad duty, but thank you all for the sponsorship and partnership. We're really looking forward to it. Ryan and I are going to try to figure out how to get out to a race this year and see you guys. And certainly if we can, you know, hopefully provide some tips on, you know, how to race better, or set up on the motorcycle.
you can look at my data and tell
Yep.
me what you do different.
Absolutely,
sure.
yeah.
Be
I'm
good.
just,
Yeah.
I actually, whatever your wife says, I'm just going to agree with it either
Right,
way.
right. My best
no.
advice I have is make sure you pee before you put that suit on.
There you go.
There you go. There you
Yeah.
go.
It is difficult actually when you get those things on. So especially it's hot and it's yeah. It's tough.
Hilarious. Well, but seriously, Justin and Casey, thank you. We really appreciate it. We're looking forward to this partnership.
Likewise.
We'll be, Ryan and I are going to be throwing on some Tab Performance red line exhaust on both our baggers here very soon when we get out of this frozen tundra and can ride a little bit. We'll be shooting some video around that and putting it out there on the interwebs. And Kyle, look forward to meeting you in person at one of the races. We're going to get out there as quickly as we can to see you kick some ass and get on that podium. And we certainly wish you the best of luck this season for a successful and a healthy season for that matter.
Yeah, no, thank you. Yeah, and I mean, we got a lot of people helping us out, of course, right? So just the not to cliche it, but I mean, there's people that really are helping us make this happen. So yeah, SNS Cycle, obviously Tab Performance,
Yeah.
Drumline Engineering, Bison and Arise, they're our gear sponsors this year, help keep us safe. So got that airbag system that works pretty good. Saved me last year on the Atlanta crash. So yeah, it's a lot of people saw that one. Unfortunately, that's part of the fun. But
not how you want to go viral. I get it.
No, yeah, that was kind of a first go at it. So we've gotten some fun stuff from ice racing, but yeah, it's a big one. But yeah, Klotz came on board this year as a oil to help us out. SBS brake pads. Yeah, TNA Customs, they're doing all our carbon fiber for our bag stuff.
Okay.
They've helped us out quite a bit. In Gear Moto, just again gear stuff. Yep, and I think Drake Specialties and did I miss anyone? I'm sure I did.
K-Tech for the suspension. We're going to be shifting to K-Tech. You might have said it, but I might have missed that one. And then
yeah, that was a big change for us.
Yeah, Vortex. Vortex is going to sponsoring the rear sprockets and the chains, and working with them for some stuff. So yeah, and that's a really good point. And I know we touched on it a little bit, especially being a smaller team, and that's been a big focus this year. Is really kind of focusing on partnering up with some of these sponsors that have expertise in the different areas, because we're not a huge corporate team with all these resources. So we kind of got to lean on our sponsors a little bit more in their areas of expertise. So, Kyle with Adrenaline Engineering and his suspension, K-Tech and the suspension knowledge that they have, Klotz and all that. I mean, they've got a long history of racing and motor oil there. SBS for the brake pads. That was a recent one. I learned way more than I ever thought I would know about brake pads recently in talking to them. And just a lot of that's to tell you the truth, I've learned a lot more about a whole lot of things that I never thought I mean, oil is another one. I could only imagine. Yeah. Never would have thought I'd learn this much about motor oil, but yeah, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, we have had one of the more reliable bikes out there, which has been pretty cool for our team. And in the past, and this is a couple of years ago, but some of the stuff we were finding for with the team of engineers that we had on our side from the internal side, some of that knowledge would go up to the factory team, and that's what helped make the bikes more reliable. So so I think we made it. So I think most teams are swapping motors every single day. I mean, we're able to get multiple weekends out of a motor if we have to. It's not necessarily ideal, but if parts are short or something like that, then it's something we've been able to do that. I mean, other teams are maybe 3 motors a day even. It's significant.
Wow, I can't imagine.
So
wow.
Yeah, we're just missing entire sessions. We've been fortunate to be able to make it. I think we broke down twice last year. We did Daytona and then Road America, and then after that was it. So
that's great. That says a lot.
Never in a race though. We've always finished the races. Our motors held together.
That says a lot, man. There's a lot of racers, whatever you're racing, can't say that. That's for sure.
Yeah, the doing something right. We got a great engine builder who's been helping us out, so it's been good.
That's awesome, man. Well, I'm excited. I'm a spectator from a distance, but I'll definitely after this be paying a whole lot closer attention this season and rooting for you guys. We really appreciate you guys coming on the show and spending a little time with us, and good luck this season.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Appreciate you.
looking forward to our 2-up ride here. So be good.
Yeah.
All right,
Ryan, make
guys.
sure
Well, thank you all again.
make sure you got Luke's life insurance policy good and
That's right.
Yeah, for sure.
All $12.78 of it. It's gonna be great.
All I want to do is make sure he's mic'd up in that helmet so I can hear him scream like a girl all the way around that track.
That's funny.
I hope that race suit's got a flap in the back, because I'm pretty sure I'm gonna shit myself. So it's gonna be bad.
No, yeah, Bison will make one for you with a custom one with a little butt flap.
Yeah.
Can I get Ryan's face on that flap? That'd be fantastic. That'd be great.
Yo.
Didn't know you were going for a brown butt ride, did you?
No, so my crew chief, he's an expert road racer, runs a R6 round. He's quite good. Anyways, he rode the bagger once. Our theory was if he crashed it, he's the one that has to find the parts and fix it anyways. So he hopped on at Brainerd and rode it, and he did 2 laps and came in and said, "Never again. I have no idea how the hell you ride this thing. It's doing this the whole time. It's trying to kill me. I can't touch the ground." He's 5'7" or something. And anyways, so yeah, they're tough. So everyone's like, "Oh, I want to ride it." It's like, I don't know, man. So sorry.
I can't imagine.
Yeah, thank you guys for having us on. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Yeah, and everyone, thanks for tuning in. It's been a pleasure chatting with Justin and Kyle. This was a good episode. Don't forget to follow us on the socials, like and subscribe on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're so inclined, join us on Patreon, where you can donate monthly to help keep this podcast moving forward and bringing you great guests like Justin and Kyle and others we've already had, and some good ones coming up. So until next week, hope everyone has a great week, and we'll see you next Monday.
Peace. We out.
See you guys.